I want to show you how to turn your drawings into animations. So if you remember our last video that we did a how to do drawing on the Mermaid, and I want to show you how I animated one of the mermaids here, and I'm going to be using the iPad and the Apple II Pencil and the app called Procreate. I hope this teaches you some things about animation and the understanding of the amount of frames and the concepts that it goes into it. It's a pretty simple process, but it's a very time-consuming process the more detailed that you want. So what we did on this video here didn't take as long because we didn't use as many frames. So therefore it's, it was a little choppier than most animations that you're used to. But hopefully this gives you an idea of some of the basics of how to animate. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is open up Procreate. And you already see I already have my drawing. So you gotta take a picture of your drawing. You can use your iPad or your phone and send it. And then inside the little gearbox, you insert a photo, and it'll come from your photo albums, and then you put it in right there. I did frames per second. A lot of movies and videos that we see today, we see those typically in about 24 frames per second. A lot of the smoother videos that we see are in 30 frames per second. But we're used to seeing it about 24, so you'll see here 8 frames per second. You can see it's not real smooth, but it does get the animation. If you change that to 15, I think, which is the default, you'll see it's a little faster, a little smoother, but I wanted to slow it down a little bit, and I did it at 8, and that's just 5 frames. So what you're going to see here, you can see each layer underneath the other layer. You can also set that if you just only wanted to see 1 frame underneath, or 2 or 3, or if you want to see all the frames. Of course it's maxed, but I only have 5. And then this is the opacity. This is the how transparent do you want those frames underneath. So you see where you're coming from. I sort of kind of like to do 2, 1, maybe 2. It almost gets too much if you have all of them. And this is the loop or the ping pong. I just have it going back and forth. So it goes there and there and there. So if you do the loop, it just starts over. And then the one shot, it just plays one time. And then it ends there. So for this purpose, I like the ping pong. So, and inside of Procreate, you have layers. And I've put all of these layers, and so each frame is a layer. Inside of each group, I have the eyes and the tail. And not all of them are like that, but some of them are a little bit different. So this frame, you can see, are sort of merged two together there. I'm going to put them together as one layer. So you can see that's a layer, and this is a frame. I'm going to put these together here. So essentially each frame is a layer, and the order of these is the order down here. So the first one is at the bottom, and the last frame is at the top. You can rearrange these, but it rearranges it down here as well. If you want to get rid of a frame, just uncheck it, and that gets rid. It does leave a blank. If you want to get rid of the blank, delete it, and you can do that by clicking it and then delete. And I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to start out right here, and I'm going to add a layer, and it just puts a layer right over that. So right now I have this as a frame. We'll get rid of that later. This is my first frame, and the first frame is going to be an identical drawing of that. So I'm going to pick my pencil, and I'm going to try to match the diameter of the black outline. I'm going to use the black. And so essentially I'm just going to trace as close to the drawing. It doesn't have to be perfect or exact. Yeah, I don't like that, so I'll just keep it. And sometimes you can do an automatic curve, and sometimes it just doesn't work. If you do a full length curve, it tries to guess what you were trying to draw, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So I'm just going to do my own. So here I am just sort of outlining it right now. We'll get the details in a minute. And I'm just getting sort of the first layer here. I can't really see this here, so I'm going to turn up the opacity of the skin underneath. That kind of lets me see it a little bit better. I'll probably turn it back down in a second. So you can zoom in there pretty well. So the nice thing about the iPad, you can just sort of zoom in and turn around, spin the drawing whichever direction you're moving your motion to where it's a little easier. And always check the size of your eraser. You actually can double tap your pencil, and it goes back and forth between the paintbrush and the eraser. Sometimes you got to watch that, and just fooling around with it, you can accidentally change it and not mean to, and erase something or draw something unintended. Okay, so now we have our first outline, and you can see our first frame looks like that. So now we're going to color it, and actually I'm going to fix that and sort of look at it. This line looks a little thick. Seems like So now we have our frame. Now we're going to add another layer. All right, now I'm going to add another layer here. And there are a couple of ways that you can do this. We're going to try. Sometimes this works. And we're just going to fill it in. Yeah. Like that. Let's add a little. Like that. I think that'll help. Yeah. Let's match colors here. And nice. And again, the more you put into this, the cooler it's going to look. But this gets us what we want. I think for simplicity's sake, we're just going to keep this one color. Rather than trying doing the blending and all that I did. I'm going to make that a little prettier here. Yikes. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to alternate colors. So we got blue here. I'm going to do a green here. And then another blue. Nice. Okay. Now for her skin. All right, and you're gonna have to come in here. Color these little boogers. Whoops. All right. Now for her eyeballs. And let's fill those in. And there we go. Let's get these little white dots here. And you notice here the skin didn't fill in. So we'll just need to make sure we get all layers. Probably the same thing over here. All right, nice. Let's work on the flower now. Let's get a brighter yellow. And like that. And then let's match the blue of her tail. So this is one way you can actually color all of this. So we have her, oh, we gotta color her top here. Let's get pink here. And we'll just, oops, my layer is right here, okay. Like that. Okay. Wait a minute, I just noticed something here. I don't know if you noticed it or not. Part of her hair. I'm going to delete this other group and then now re-duplicate it. Okay. All right, so this is our second one. So what you could do, draw it all again, but in a different composition. So that's one way of doing it. You're just going to draw it and then put her tail here. But another way that you can is actually, I'm going to just move her tail and then her eyes a little bit. And if we do a freehand, I'm just going to freehand the part that I want to move. And then I'm going to do a copy and paste. And you'll see here in the selection here,
it added a layer. So if I hide the underneath, there is this new thing. So I'm going to go to my arrow and I'm going to rotate it just a little bit to give it some kind of movement. And you can see everything's not lining up, and that's just where you still have to end up drawing some, but it keeps you from having to draw the whole thing. So I'm going to go back to the bottom layer and I'm going to erase what I don't need here. And now you're seeing that bottom frame shine through. And we're seeing what the other frame would look like. So this doesn't make any sense. So we need to go back to this layer here and then sort of delete that a little bit, and then we'll just kind of have to fix it to where it lines up. And where it's not going to be exactly perfect. And you could even probably cut that out to where her whole body is moving. You can move her hands. We'll probably move her hair a little bit, and then her eyes. We're going to move her tail and her hair in all the frames, and then her eyes in only every 2 frames. Let's clean this up a little bit. All right. And on this hair, what I found to be easier is just, instead of copy and pasting, I'm just going to go ahead and sort of erase that a little bit and then just kind of redraw it. Now we're going to duplicate this, and I'm going to move things a little bit differently, and they're going to sort of flow together. And so we're going to just kind of repeat what we did earlier. Now I am going to make her eyes blink on this one. All right, so now I'm going to just erase her eyes, which seems weird, but it's fine. It's all for, it's part of the show. So you could even make her smile, have a bigger smile, or you know, her nose twitch or something to that effect. Make the flower spin. A lot of cool things. All right, so I need to see the diameter or the width of her eyes. So I'm just going to bring that transparency back down. And then we're going to just do like we did on the other. We're just going to make them sort of blinky. All right, so we're going to make sure that they're straight across here. Bring the transparency back up. Nice. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. So even that gives us just enough. That's just with 3 frames. We've not done a whole lot of animation. But that kind of gives you an idea. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more frames. So that's essentially how you animate it, and you can share. You could share as Animated Png, and we're going to leave it at frames per second with a transparent background. and then we're going to export. And there it is. It's sent to my
MacBook.